On this episode of Blank Canvas, I meet two artists whose art elegantly combines elements of the East and the West. First, Chinese-American ceramist John Cheer combines Eastern sensibilities with Western techniques to make exquisite clay and glass-infused stingrays. John Cheer's journey as an artist began the first time he discovered that he could speak the language of clay. John's fertile mind found its artistic inclination during his childhood in China. He migrated to the United States with a keen desire to experiment, after which he mastered several difficult techniques. Today, John owns a successful studio and has perfected a unique method combining clay and glass, an integral part of all his signature pieces. John invited me to his studio in Allentown to learn more about his fascinating art. Well, we're in the Allentown studio of ceramist and artist John Cheer. Thank you for having us, John.
Oh, you're welcome.
Now, you have been influenced certainly by your background. You were born in China and then emigrated to the United States at 13. But while you were in China, you started getting involved in sort of making things with clay. Is that the beginning of your interest?
Yeah, when I was even younger age, when I was 8 years old, I always liked to play with Play-Doh. Mm-hmm. And one time my mother took me to the Chinese circus, to see the whole act. And when I came home, I remember every single act. And I made the whole entire set.
Out of Play-Doh?
Out of Play-Doh. And from that point on, I pretty much felt that I had an experience of creating something out of nothing.
Right. John explains that his love for the ocean inspired him to take his art a step further. Not only did he begin using glass to mimic the transparent quality of water, he also perfected the art of sculpting ocean and sea creatures, like his signature piece, the magnificent stingray.
The glass is when you look at it, it has a liquid feel to it. Mm-hmm. So for years, I have making some ocean themes of sculpture, but I always wanted to combine with glass to complement that ocean design.
Now, John, what do you think the role of an artist is?
I think the role of artists is to inspire people, to make people to look around them, to be conscious of their surrounding, and to understand in order to enjoy the life that we're given, we need to appreciate things, appreciate beautiful things, and appreciate creations, because we ourselves are mystery as part of the creation. And artists has a way of looking at things very closely. By doing that, we can translate to the mass of people and to tell them basically, look, there's something wonderful about this.
Right.
Even it could be a tiny little flower that most people don't even
notice. takes a special place in John's heart. It combines John's love for the sea. It marries his Eastern and Western influences and allows him to perfect his unique technique of mixing clay and glass. The stingray might just be John's baby, but it is a signature piece like no other. He agreed to give us a little demonstration. So here we are with a completed piece of one of John's stoneware, and we're at your wheel, so we're going to see how this whole thing starts. It starts with a big ball of stoneware clay.
Gonna get a little bit moist out here.
And you're controlling this by a pedal,
right,
with your foot.
It was a various speed. Okay.
And that's just regular old stoneware clay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yes. And put a little bit of water on them.
Now they call this throwing pot?
They call this throwing. Basically, you are manipulating clay while the clay is spinning really fast.
Right. A potter's wheel is a device used to shape the clay into the desired form by electrically rotating it at high speeds. Since the clay is literally thrown on the center of the wheel to position it, the term throwing the clay is used in common parlance.
The trick of the whole thing is to make sure that the clay is not off center.
So it's all about center.
Pretty much in the center, because if it's a little bit off center, you
Sorry. I hope that doesn't happen to me.
Yeah. That's all right. That's all right.
Centering the clay is probably the most important step while using the potter's wheel. It takes a combination of practice and skill to center the stubborn piece of clay. Unless centered, the clay will wobble constantly and cannot be molded as desired. John made working the wheel look so easy, and I was curious if I could handle it. John is going to give me my first try at centering clay on a potter's wheel.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Okay. First, what you want to do is try to make into a round ball.
Okay.
With the clay.
Holy moly. This is a good workout.
Yeah. Okay, good.
It's not in the center.
That's all right. Okay, move it a little bit.
All right.
Not bad. Okay. Now, remember, this is your line.
Yes.
Your arm is your line.
Right.
The forces has to go right through the clay. Doesn't matter what position you are at.
Right.
Okay? All right, now.
Oh boy.
Okay. Now put this hand on top. Okay? Now lean forward. Lean forward, push forward a little bit, and hold right there.
Ooh.
Hold right there.
Oh no! It kind of felt like burning.
Right,
Do you smell skin?
Take your hand off slowly, 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 very gently, very gently, very gently. Voila.
Did I do it?
You did it.
I centered the clay.
All right.
Mission accomplished. After that, I had a sincere appreciation of the skill and dedication that John invests in all his pieces. Needless to say, I was curious to see the evolution of the stingray from clay to final product. So now this has had a chance to dry, and we're on the second step, which is adding a porcelain glaze.
Porcelain slip, actually.
A slip.
Yeah, a slip. This basically lightens the inside of the plate when I apply color on top of it.
So it literally is going to change the color of this from what it ordinarily would be, okay? After the porcelain slip is applied, John skillfully carves out the bottom, shaping it to resemble the stingray. John makes the two pieces of the tail separately and individually attaches them to the body.
I had to take 2 pieces of clay and rolls into the tail, which is from thick to thin. These are actually 2 different pieces.
And you've done that completely separately?
Right, completely separately. And then I'm going to cut the wings out from the clay, which is from the inside here.
Next, the piece moves to the kiln for a few hours, where the clay hardens. So for 8 hours, it just sits in here getting heated up. All right, let's see. And there it is. It is only after the clay hardens that any coat of paint can be applied. Here, John coats the entire piece with a uniform deep red. Combining clay with glass is not an easy venture, but John has perfected his method. Here he showers bits of glass at the center and will later seal it with a coat of his special glaze. As this stage is his best kept trade secret, he preferred to finish it in private. After the stingray is coated and glazed, it goes into the kiln one last time. John, so you put in the powdered glass and then a few coats of beautiful glaze, and then the final step was one last firing for 12 hours?
Yes, 12 hours and fire up to 2,800 degrees in 12 hours. Yeah.
And now we have a finished product?
Yes, yes. And usually this takes about 2 days to cool off. Very
wow.
Slow. Very slow.
Well, let's take a look. I can't wait to see it. Drum roll, please. Wow. I can already sort of see it. That is amazing. And this is sort of your signature stingray design.
That's right.
Bringing in your inspiration from scuba diving and the sea creatures themselves. You've got your signature crushed glass in there.
Right.
This is a piece that would be beautiful anywhere.
Yes.
I absolutely love it. How unique and beautiful. If there's one ingredient that John Cheer infuses into all of his pieces, it is a healthy serving of soulfulness. John explains that the human soul, unless pulled out of its shell, shies away in hiding, never to come out into the world. Well, John Cheer never has to worry about that. His fabulous ceramic pieces are filled with an ethereal, soulful beauty that instantly reflect the beauty of all creation.